And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Wow, 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 I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that's an ode to my granddaughter. She's wow, wow, wow. Well, everything's wow, and also everything's no. But, you know, the one I wanted to make sure that we kind of finish on this line of this Herman Cain thing that got me thinking. And there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, let me go ahead and pull some of this stuff up. Well, I'll do it here in a little bit when I get to the news, because it's the bio IDing of everybody is coming to America, and I got stories all over Freedom's Phoenix constantly, and certainly today, of how they're doing it. And I'll tell you, it's going to be with the financial institutions. And to get everybody in, they're going to bribe you. They're going to bribe you with a, prebate and get you on with the fair tax, or they're going to do whatever. They're doing it with the banks anyway. So it's like a long-term, it's always been a long-term plan. And when you have things like you get George Romney, and then now his son running against the other, freedom-oriented candidate, and the moderate Republicans got to put their boys up, it just makes you wonder, it makes you go, So what I'm going to do is I want to finish this article, and it'll give you an idea. It's not real long. I just wrote it last night just because I wanted to get it on record. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish this. I expect a long list of Republican Ron Paul slayers that will parade across the stage just long enough to fund their political PACs and then fade away until they are called upon again later. Now, what I mean by that is there are all Newt Gingrich and Sarah Palin and these guys. They just keep coming round and run. They're cyclical. They'll come when they're needed, and they'll get out and they'll do whatever and raise money for something. In my exploratory de la to my PAC thing, Dr. Paul has the Liberty PAC. He's got C4L, and they got they all do this. And Newt Gingrich, seriously, he's just going to replenish his. They made fun of him in Saturday Night Live skit where they had Tina Fey came and played Sarah Palin, the people that didn't go to the other debate, and they're debating and they're having fun with these guys. And so I can see where it's just all that they just come up, raise the money, and then they're gone. Well, Newt Gingrich was one of the guys that are up there, and they go, Newt, are you staying in? Are you done? Did you get enough what you need? He goes, yeah, I'm done. He just gets off the stage and leaves. Didn't even participate in debate. They know he's just there to what? I have no idea, but I know he's going to replenish his PAC. And then they use the money to support other causes, and conservative Republican travel around and get their salary paid for another 2-4 years. That's how this works. So they're going to, go around long enough to get their PAC funded, and then they'll leave and get called on later when they need them. But my real concern is that the lamestream media, the media so last century, will provide enough coverage of Dr. Paul to keep the injustice rage out of the minds of Ron Paul supporters in an effort to keep them from filling every nook and cranny across the planet with Ron Paul material. I was always openly supportive of the political machine's support of the New Ordered World Empire We Rule You Club, disrespecting Dr. Paul and his supporters because I knew what would happen in retaliation every single time. But now they know as well. It is essential to the media machine that they retain at least an itty-bitty bit of legitimacy in the minds of the people, or they are totally worthless to the process, no matter what they are going to support in the long run. I am of the opinion that the main objective is to get the people back to the voting booth and participating in the discussions using superficial issues to entertain us. And fill in the fear-mongering whatever issue here. Fill in the blank. In 1964, Another freedom-oriented candidate, Barry Goldwater, was articulating many of the traits expressed in the movement surrounding the very influential book by Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, that had just been published a few years before and was gaining followers. And I remember a lot of people, comparing Barry Goldwater to John Galt and all that kind of stuff. Same kind of thing that they're doing with Dr. Paul. In fact, some of the first signs, when Dr. Paul came to Sky Harbor International Airport on March 28th, 29th, it was the end of March in 2007, it said, "Who is Ron Paul?" And 1-800-RON-PAUL, and a bunch of stuff, and of course the Lovolution. But who is Ron Paul? Started right off there. Well, the same thing was going on with Barry Goldwater back in '64, certainly right after the book. Goldwater had to be opposed by the government-loving machine that would just as soon have a big government Democrat than risk a philosophical shift away from the shearing of America. And I'm sure that there is an interesting story behind the naming of Rand Paul. And then I put on here a link to a video where Rand Paul was talking and corrected everybody. We always, Rand is an Ayn Rand thing, whatever, because, I know he's a fan, and Dr. Paul, of course, read the book. So, no, it was Randall. His mother named him Randall, and then it was Randy, and then his wife just started calling him Rand, and that's where it came from. But then, of course, he, espoused, how much he respected her in books and all that kind of stuff. But his real name is Randall, all right? Born on January 7th, 1963, to Ron and Carol Paul, I have to wonder what hopes a much younger Mr. and Mrs. Ron Paul had for the future of this country after the publishing of Ayn's novel, The Rise of Austrian Economics, and the popularity of Barry Goldwater's rhetoric in support of the rights of the individual. Assuming that the United States survives the economic collapse of the U.S. dollar, we might see the running of Ayn Rand's namesake for president in 2016. To think that Rand Paul's not going to be at least approached as time goes on and his father starts to hit 80 and you have Rand Paul being a U.S. senator, and that's, we got to talk about the, 150-something years of time was distributed amongst Kentucky's election directors in control of. They got convicted of all kinds of election fraud there. So that was, we'll have Brad Blog on, Brad Freeman on later, talk about that. We've been following that. Big deal. So here we have an economic collapse that's, I say, is certain. I mean, it's planned for and so on. We'll see what happens for 2016. Will Rand Paul be available? But for liberty to even be an option, then, the people in support of freedom cannot be distracted by the platitudes of a corrupt organization like in the media and so on, and the enslaving plans of powerful people that view the vast majority of humanity as livestock to be harvested. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. The media political war machine is planning Ron Paul's and your elimination in the 2012 election cycle right not later, as in right now. Don't be fooled. They are planning your demise from the election cycle as we speak. But they have to be seen as credible. Some kind of just a veneer of legitimacy. We know how to spell, Ron Paul's name. We'll include it. Because remember, there were many times he's left out of the polling. They didn't include his name in articles. They wouldn't include him in the debate in New Hampshire on Fox. They wouldn't. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. What will they do this time? They'll do just enough to keep you from being angry with righteous indignation of the injustice that you see, and you take to the streets. Is the Levolution taken to the streets again in the same force before? I don't know. They might. But, the big bad guys don't want you to. Because they know what will happen. We'll be right back.